So in this video, we'll do a quick overview of the export functionality. If for some reason you need to track, let's say, the quantities of materials that you find yourself ordering quite often, or you need to understand kind of if there is a relationship between the time in which you bought it and a price fluctuation, then exporting that information is a good way to analyze the data that would give you the insight you might need. Now, touching base on insights. Insights is an area where, of course, it's related to reporting. When it comes to materials, you want to see what is the price of materials over time. You might want to see, at least from the manufacturing perspective, you might want to see how much material has been consumed. But generally, if you're ordering it a lot, then you're probably consuming it a lot as well. So doing your own analyses is something that you can do with the exports. However, you are also able to use some of our third-party integrations, which like Easy Insight as an example, to maybe capture some data about your purchasing activities along with other areas inside of Katana, and or build something into our API to extract information about inventory related data. But anyway, let's take a quick look at the export functionality. And a few things I want to say here is that there would be basically two exports available for your purchase orders. The first ones would be the ones that are currently open, which means these are all of the goods that haven't been received. Then there would also be the ones that are done, which have already been completed. And when you're doing exports with Katana, maybe for some reason you have an accountant or somebody who wants to request that raw data from your platform, whatever it may be, whatever the purpose may be, you can actually choose the date ranges in which you want to export. So all you need to utilize is the different date filters that we have here by selecting either a custom range or some point in the relative recent past, and then choose the export option from the top right. This will prep an Excel or CSV file for you, and then you can use that to take a closer look at the stuff you're making. So what I'll do next is I'll go ahead and pull it up, the one I just downloaded, so I can run you through the type of information that is available here, so it's a bit more clear what exactly it is that you're looking at. So the file I have is currently in a numbers format because I'm using a MacBook. But if you're using a PC, it'll download and open up in Excel spreadsheets. But Mac makes it pretty easy to read, to be completely honest. So what fields are available here that you might not necessarily see in your Katana account is, firstly, something that I want to point out is it repeats by purchase order number. So actually what this is if I have PO1 specified in my Katana account, that PO1 likely, if we look at it, which has been done, it has 4 rows of data. Just like you can see that PO1 is repeated 4 times, which is for the 4 rows of data. So actually what's being exported in this case is individual line items. So you can see individual line items and their associated quantities in a more single page format whenever you export that information. Now, what you see inside of here as well is the creation date, which is the day at which that PO was made, and then also the expected arrival dates for the ones that were completed but had an arrival date attached to them, expected arrival date attached to them, inclusive of their variant code and description. So this is pretty basic info. And then the actual quantity that was ordered on this done purchase order. So this was the quantity that was received in the PO. And the price associated, along with its corresponding tax rate, price without tax, and total price with tax included. And in addition to that, its received date. Now, what's handy or important about the received date is, let's say that you have a big purchase order that literally takes maybe 3 months to fulfill, and it could have 50 or 100 items inside of it, and they all come in different deliveries in different quantities. Well, actually, what will happen is the received date will transpose over into the Excel document that you're exporting in order to see which quantities were received on what dates, to give you a bit more accurate tracking whenever you are doing some sort of reporting against the frequency in which your items arrive. And you can filter this all out. You can create pivot charts and pivot tables to organize this information as needed. And that right there is the basic overview of what the purchase order export will look like. The done version of this has a few differences, of course, because it includes the actual receive date, whereas the open version wouldn't. If you're using like multi-currency as an example, then you'll actually see the converted currency on this export as well. So you can make backward calculations on exactly how much that item was paid, for example. If we want to take a closer look at, let's say, for example, the purchase orders that are from the open list, you could do the exact same here. Download the PO, open it up, and you'll see all of the corresponding and existing purchase orders that haven't been received yet. They will have an expected arrival date, but you'll see that the received date is empty. And that more or less is the main difference between the open and done versions of these purchase orders. That pretty much sums up our purchase order exports, and hopefully you'll find that useful in case you need to do further analysis of your purchasing activities.